Welcome to the BPMN Analyzer 2.0 tool demonstration. So the BPM Analyzer is integrated into a normal BPM editor, as you can see here, and will, on every change, check if all the properties we see here on the top right are fulfilled. In this case, we added a that activity, and the BPM Analyzer checked the updated model and saw that this activity here can never be executed. And if we delete it again, the analyzer will show us that there are no dead activities anymore. So what are we checking? We're checking synchronization, more on that later. We're checking guaranteed termination, we're checking unique end event execution, and we're checking if there are dead activities. For example, look at this BPMN model here. This is what we call a lack of synchronization. So this means that if we look at this concrete counterexample given by the analyzer, that there can be two tokens located on the same sequence flow. In this case, it's this sequence flow here, located on red. Well, you might ask, well, why is this a problem? Well, this can definitely be a problem if you think about the following situation, that you have another activity sitting here, and you call this activity charge the customer. And here you charge the credit card of the customer due to some wares he has ordered from your warehouse. Maybe you're modeling Amazon or something like this. So if we look at the counterexample here, given by the BPMN Analyzer and speed it up a bit, we can see that charge customer, this activity is executed twice. So we're essentially charging the customer twice for him ordering only once. So this can be a problem. It must not be a problem, but it's something weird. So the analyzer will tell you that something is wrong here. And if this all went a bit too fast for you, you can also rerun this, stop the simulation wherever you want it, or as I've shown you before, speed it up. So now the analyzer showed us all these problems, but how can we fix them? Well, there are some suggestions by the analyzer here. Essentially, there are two ways to fix this. One way is to change this gateway here on the left to an exclusive gateway. So if we click on this, all the properties are now fulfilled. This is because now we do A or B, so there will never be two tokens here later on. But if we really want to do A and B in parallel, then we should synchronize. And this means we should have a parallel gateway here at the end, which will synchronize both tokens, and then this charge customer activity will only be executed once. So the BPM Analyzer always gives you all the possibilities, and depending on the modeler, what really he wanted to do here, both of the activities in parallel or only one of them, he will choose the specific option that fits his needs and fits his specific model. Let's look at a bit more complicated example here, where it's not quite obvious because we have modeled an implicit gateway. If we look again, it's essentially the same example, but now you can see that we have an implicit parallel gateway. So this A activity here spits out two tokens without there being a parallel gateway, but this is how the BPMN semantics are intended to do. So to fix this problem, again, you have the same possibility as before. If you want to do A or B, you can really add an exclusive gateway, make it explicit, and add an exclusive gateway here that you're doing A or B. And then you can always go back and just look at the other thing that the BPM Analyzer suggests to you. And this is to have a parallel gateway here to do the synchronization. And this again is doing B and C at the same time. So these have been some examples. Then there can also be dead activities that are a bit harder to detect, which are still connected. Those we can also find. Then there can be parallel gateways that are blocking essentially here. So there's termination is not guaranteed anymore. So this is also something the analyzer can find and show you. And then it will give you the same ideas how to fix this. There can be message starvation as an example. So here in the top, we are waiting for a message to receive, or task B is waiting for a message to be received, but it's never received because in the bottom, we're picking the lower branch. So this is also something which we can detect and essentially fix. There can be live locks as well, where here in this case, we can have more than 50 tokens suddenly at this flow, and this BPMN post essentially never finishes because this parallel gateway just keeps producing more and more tokens. And there can also be events which block the sequence flow. In this case, you could fix this by adding a token here. So this has been a short rundown of the BPMN Analyzer. All the tools are linked in the description, so you can look at it in more detail for yourself.